Dead people, they're boring. What do I mean by that? We'll get into that. I'm Kadrick Olson, author of Runes for Transformation, founder of Galdercraft, and a little something that you may not have known about me. I grew up communicating, dealing with spirits of many different kinds my entire life. It's not something I've been totally public about, and so I am going to bring a bit more about communicating with spirits, non-corporeal entities, all that sort of thing to you so we can get a better understanding of how this works, what you can gain from it, and maybe some of the pitfalls that I've learned from along the way. Now, seances, they're great tools for communicating with non-corporeal or spiritual entities, and you can gain a lot from working with such beings, and guess what? They actually gain from you too. It's a good, mutually beneficial project. But we've all heard about contacting the recently deceased, departed loved ones, other people, and I've learned over the years you might not really want to do that because they're mostly boring, and most of the time this contact is actually one-sided. You see, dead people, when they come through, they tend to really just offer simple messages of, I love you, I'm okay, things are going great, blah, 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 blah. If you see some of these channelers on TV, or if you go see a channeler and they've got a room full of people, they're channeling the spirits of the loved ones, and they seem to pick out that right person in the crowd, and they always have these simple messages of, yeah, hey, this is great, I'm doing good. It may be an authentic contact. It's my experience that most of the time it really is an authentic contact, and it will give you a good sense of relief, a temporary sense of happiness, and fine and dandy, good, great. But that's all. It's kind of like a postcard from the spiritual side. It's one-sided. The message is simple, and you gain a happy, good feeling out of it. But so what? Now, the other reason why they're boring is because not only do they give a simple message, but a lot of times when you connect with somebody that's a departed loved one, they may want something. They're desperately clinging to that one thing. Like they grew up in their entire life and they have something in the house that they really love, maybe the house that they really loved. And when you contact them, that's all they want to talk about is the condition of their house or the one thing that they're into. They're really one-sided. There's a reason for this one track thought, this one thought mind. We're going to get to another video about that. But a lot of times when we connect with a departed loved one that we think we're communicating with, and they seem to have this one track mind, hey, where's my teddy bear? Hey, where's my teddy bear? You know where my teddy bear is? It actually might not be fully the person you thought you were contacting. It's not a bad thing. It's just a part of them. And again, it's boring. They got a one track mind. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. Boring. Okay. There's not anything interesting because they got this one sided, one dimensional thought of this one single thing that they're clinging to. And you don't want to get caught up in that. Again, it's very one track. You might want to go out and say, help them and go, oh, I will find your teddy bear. What are they going to do with a teddy bear? What are they going to do with a house? What are they going to do with any of this stuff? They don't need these physical, material objects that they seem to be clinging to. There's another energetic connection that they need, and you may not be in that position to provide that. So this is one of the most important reasons why dead people are boring, is they're a single track focus with a one-dimensional thought that they just can't seem to get over it. Here's another thing that you may not have thought about. When you're reaching out to, say, Uncle Johnny, and you remember Uncle Johnny, what he was like in life, and he may not have been the greatest person. He may have been a womanizer, drinking, drug problem, gambling, all of these other negative traits. There's something you have to think about. That Uncle Johnny, at the authentic core of who he is, may not be the person that you knew in life. They've sloughed off who they once were, especially if what they once were was full of toxic behaviors, toxic emotions, and that they were generally a toxic person. They actually may have sloughed that part off. And you don't know who they were authentically at the core of their being. This is actually a problem with a lot of people in this world. They're not living at the core of who they are. They're living this toxic waste that they've built up onto themselves, that they have presenting out into the world as who they are. That's their personality, is this toxic buildup of behaviors. And so when you go into a seance setting and you're trying to contact Uncle Johnny, you're actually connecting with this thing that they sloughed off, this part of them. And so you're connecting with the toxic behavior, Uncle Johnny, not the authentic Uncle Johnny. And if you were to connect with the authentic Uncle Johnny, you wouldn't recognize him. You wouldn't have any information that you would know. You wouldn't be able to validate your connection with who he once was. So again, dead people are boring because you might connect with this toxic buildup of behaviors, this set of personality that isn't really who the person is authentically. Now, another interesting thing that happens with dead people is you are able to slough off who you once were. You are able to get rid of all of these toxic beliefs, and you move on into the afterlife. You're healing. You ascended to a different state of being, and you really lose all of your ties to this life. So you go out, you go into a seance, you're trying to reconnect with Aunt Matilda. Hard to say this, but Aunt Matilda doesn't care anymore. Aunt Matilda's moved on from the material world. She lost her connections to who she once was. You may have been close, and you got that feeling. You got that great. And you might get that simple message, hey, I'm here. This is Aunt Matilda. Things are great. I'm doing wonderfully. I've moved on. Hope your life is good. See you later. Bye. And that's it. Right? Aunt Matilda's moved on in her afterlife. She's become something different. She's growing. She's learning. She's engaging in something different. So she's become something different. And yeah, she may care about you. She still may have these warm feelings towards you, but you're not really connected that you used to once to be. It's okay. Let her move on. Let her grow. Let her become who she needs to be becoming. Now, one of the reasons we like to go into seance to connect with somebody is somebody we love has died recently. We want to connect with them one more time, to say, I love you one more time, to hear a message of hope and wonder that they're okay after they've recently died. Now, remember, they're in a transition phase from life to death. Their world is changing. Everything that they thought they knew is different. Everything that they had concrete and confirmed and understood is gone. And this can be a very difficult and confusing time for these people. They're working with others over there that can help them transition, to help them move through this process. And if you were to go into a seance and you were to reach out to them as they're doing this transition process, you actually may be enabling them to cling on to some of the things that they need to let go of. I know, again, this is hard to hear. Somebody may have recently died, and you want to reach out to help them. I know you do. That's your compassionate side, and that's great. That's wonderful. But if you were to reach out to the energy of that person as they're making the transition, you remind them who they were. You remind them where they've come from. You will help them to gain that singular focus that might cause them to cling to the things in this world that they need to let go of. I know this might be the hardest part to hear, but you need to learn to let go, to let them make their transition so that they can grow to become who they need to be as they're making the transition to the afterlife. So what are you going to do instead, right? Well, I do recommend that there are some beings that you do want to contact, like guides, okay? Pass off all this wacky woo-woo stuff. Guides. These are beings that can help set you upon the path in this life, to help you find your destiny, to work you through difficult times, okay? Guides are great people to get in contact with. You can go into a seance, ask for a guide. Somebody can help you on the path to help you get through these things, right? A teacher. A teacher is somebody that can help you learn the stuff that you need to know in this life, how to overcome challenges, ways that can help you. Teachers are great to contact. Guides, teachers, these are wonderful beings to get in contact with in a ritual, a seance, that sort of thing. And this can be a two-way process because they will help you to learn, to help you grow, to help you on your path. And as you do, your gratitude, your affection, your appreciation for their efforts, and your growth actually helps them out too, energetically. They benefit from your benefit. So it's a mutual two-way process, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Another type of being that you can get in contact with, and this may be where you want some help with, these are intermediaries. Intermediaries are maybe someone who knows you, and maybe they know some of the loved ones that have helped cross over and passing on, and they can help you to understand what your loved ones are going through. They can help you understand ways that maybe you can help them. Sometimes that helping is letting go. Sometimes that helping is learning to forget. Sometimes that helping is learning to move on with your own life. Sometimes your loved one who has crossed over needs you to move on with your life, not clinging to what they're doing. And sometimes that intermediary can say, hey, yeah, what they really need is you to get together with some friends and remember the wonderful times that you had together. Share the gratitude of those moments that you had, that love, that wonder, the joy, all of those things. They could really use as a boost in that energy. They may give you that sort of thing. Okay? They also may give you some of the feedback that, hey, they do want to resolve this one issue. They're clinging to something in this life. They can't seem to let go. Can you help them to resolve this issue? Again, don't go directly to your loved one to say, hey, what do you need to resolve? Find an intermediary, a guide, a teacher type thing that knows you, that knows them. They can say, hey, they need help resolving this thing. Here's how you can help resolve that. That will go a lot further than trying to directly connect with dead people. Now, in another video, I'll actually detail some of the different type of beings, type of the people that you don't want to connect with. Why you don't, why you want to. Like, for example, you don't want to connect with famous people. Shh. But for this video, right now, I just want to go into why dead people are boring. Don't work with them, but there are other type of beings that you can work with. And if you want to know how to get deeper into this kind of working and learn more from it, just click the link below in the description and there'll be more stuff there for you to work with. Thank you, and hail.